This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina, and welcome.
Hello, I'm Kiki.
Yes. Kiki Andersen is host of a brand new podcast called Indecent. So welcome to the podcast world.
Thank you.
And you are a comic, you're a former reporter, so we've got a lot of things to dive into. First of all, like, how did you get into stand-up comedy? Because that is always fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I've done sketch comedy. I've obviously done like performing and that sort of thing, but
Improv,
being
all
on
that,
your
yeah.
own doing stand-up is like the most terrifying thing in the world to me.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever the plan. Getting paid in drink tickets wasn't really.
No.
Wasn't on your life goal, your 5-year plan.
No. But
How does rent get paid with those? Is my question. Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried that. Be like,
No.
vodka soda. No, I do have a full-time job too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always loved comedy, and I wanted to do late night comedy. But I never knew what the trajectory was for comedy. I didn't know what an improv class was. I didn't really understand stand-up. I just liked it. So I wanted to do The Daily Show. My dad was a journalist. I went to school for journalism. And then I was like, at some point, it's going to all fall into play. And I did journalism for 4 years, and I finally found stand-up. And I was at the comedy clubs till 2 a.m. and then I would go to work at 4 a.m.
Wow.
So at some point, it became a very clear, like, you have to make a decision. You can't report on the mayor and talk shit about the mayor.
Yeah.
So,
Get a little
I made a
insider
choice.
scoop.
Yeah, exactly.
But did you find those to be transferable skills? Because so much like stand-up is storytelling, and you have a journalism background. So did you find that helpful? In doing your stand-up?
I think there's a lot of overlap there. Like, just being in front of a microphone, first of all, and just being aware of what's going on in society, reading the room, interrogating people's belief systems and your own belief systems, which I think a lot of comics don't do.
Right.
But, thinking about, like, why are things the way they are? What's funny about it? Not that you're doing that for the news, but, just kind of, like, micro-dissecting everything.
You are in your brain, right?
Well, it's also got to be like, it's such a male space too. So it's also got to be a real challenge to navigate as a woman. Like,
Yeah, it's some bullshit.
I guarantee you, like, especially, places like the Comedy Store, like I've heard, that it can be very difficult, and it's a challenging environment for women to navigate. So much respect.
Thank you.
Definitely. So how did you get involved then in wanting to do a podcast? Like, how did that start? How did that evolve?
Well, they had the company I work with, Next Chapter Podcast, had approached me about a different project. They were looking for somebody that's in the news and comedy space. They ended up going a different direction with it, but then we stayed in touch, and we were like, well, but what about like political sex scandals? It was an idea we were throwing around, but
There's a lot of those. I
There's
feel like you have a lot of
tons of those.
content.
yeah, and it's always good to it's always fun to poke fun at the perverts that are all the way at the top.
Man, you can do like a 3-part series on that Anthony Weiner.
Yeah. Listen, I would listen to that podcast.
I would too.
Totally would listen to
We
that podcast.
contacted him. This
Oh my
is,
God.
exclusive for this podcast.
Wow.
We contacted Anthony Weiner. That was one of our first things.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
I need so many details.
Oh my God. Well, they are good. They deliver. So we emailed him. We were like, we're thinking about doing this podcast, talking about maybe like, what happened in your career and, why'd you get canceled?
Yeah.
And how are you now? And, what's your journey now?
Right.
And so he responds with, I don't know how I feel about doing a podcast with a comedienne.
Ew.
And then he signs the email, Wiener.
No.
I'm like, you're showing your dick right now.
Literally.
Like, you could have signed it Anthony.
The
You
lack
could've.
of self-awareness
Wow.
to do that
Yeah.
is insane.
Just say wiener out. Commit to it fully if you're gonna fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we were really open with him and like really just wanted to give him a chance. Not that we're trying to what do you say? Like
fix his image.
Right.
We're not trying to rehabilitate him.
She wanted to give him an opportunity to share his side of the story, to let him speak in his own words about the situation.
Yeah, because there's so many people that get canceled these days. You have to wonder, like, where are they now? Like, where is society?
How are they
Totally.
doing?
Yeah.
Right. And he was just a total dick about it, sounds like.
It's just very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll still take you, Anthony.
Yeah,
but,
listen, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Well, we are a dating podcast, and so we want to dish the tea. Your team reached out to us, and a juicy story about your dating a married guy for years.
She's like,
Not
they
quite.
told you that? And I'm like,
No, I'm like,
Not years.
no,
You went on several dates, though, right?
We went
he
on a few dates.
Told you
Yeah.
anything, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, there's a lot of crazy in LA, as I'm sure you guys know.
yeah.
And we went on a couple dates. They were great. And then on the third date, he's like, do you want to come to my house? I can cook for you. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds really nice. But I realized it had never come up, like, where he lives or who he lives with. So I'm like, wait, do you have roommates? And he's like, actually, I have a wife.
Okay.
oh, was it like an open relationship kind of thing? And he just waited
When a
till
unicorn?
the third date, or
Exactly. He was like, well, we're ethically non-monogamous. I'm like, you missed the ethical part.
Right, yeah.
Because you're not ethical with me.
Right.
He needs to disclose to you. Like, it's good that your wife is aware of this situation and seems to be okay with it, but I wasn't aware. I didn't consent to being part of whatever's going on here.
Yeah, it felt like, I don't want to use the term assault because that's really out there, but like it felt
Like a violation.
a violation.
Yeah.
That's the right word.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
I gotta touch base with you after the episode. I'll be like, was his name Beep? Yes.
Oh, man.
How wild would
man.
that be?
I mean, it is LA.
It is LA. It's
It's a small, big town.
I will say though, I blocked him on everything, which is not really my style, but I was so mad because I really actually kind of liked him. But I didn't remove him from the dating app. So I just, out of curiosity, like went back to look at it, and he did add it to his profile.
Oh, okay.
Good.
So we fixed men.
Good. Yeah. Good job. Congratulations. Yeah. No, I mean, we always say that. Put it in your bio. Like, if it's something that, and if it's really no big deal, then it's no big deal. There will be
Right.
plenty of people who are totally fine with that. And even if it's like not in your bio, then it's something that needs to come up immediately upon meeting somebody. Like on a first date, over coffee, over drinks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You need to disclose that, because you need to. There are people who are really not okay with being involved
right.
in that situation. You need to give them the opportunity to say yes or no.
Yeah.
What was the plan? Like, I'm going to come use your bathroom, and there's just like women's products everywhere.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Or his wife is there.
Yeah. Or there's framed pictures of his family
Oh my God.
like everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
like, what a surprise. Like, why would he wait for you to ask? Because especially like at the point that he's like inviting you over to his house.
Yeah.
Like at that point, why isn't he like, okay, it's time to have this conversation before I have you come over.
Right.
Invite
That's
you over to
crazy,
my house.
psychotic behavior.
It's very
Yeah.
strange. Yeah, I agree. It is very strange.
So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So, I'm curious. Tell people a little bit about, I mean, we listened to it, but tell people a little bit about what Indecent is now. Like what it became, like what it evolved into, what you do. Share with our listeners kind of what your platform is. Like, as far
Sure.
as-
So our like byline is peeling at the wallpaper of polite society.
Perfect.
So we do all the taboo topics you can't talk about at dinner, which I don't know. If you're in my household, you can pretty much talk about anything.
Right. Same.
But most dinners, I guess, maybe not a first date conversation. So everything from politics to religion. We've been focusing on the first few episodes about pornography and sex. So, we wanted to start out strong.
That's right.
No, we were just talking on a recent episode about like the no-fap community.
Oh,
like,
my God.
These guys didn't know what it was and stuff. I had somebody come up and actually talk to me and was like, yeah, no, that's an issue in our house. Like,
Wow.
like
In their relationship.
In the relationship, yeah.
Yeah.
The
That
death
there's too much
grip,
porn, or that they're not.
too much porn, yeah. So they've
Wow.
had to impose the no-fap rule. And I'm like, wow.
There's like a whole community of people who do it because of like, I think religious reasons too.
Oh, wow.
There's like a strong, I was seeing some stuff on like TikTok about it. There's like, people who are like part of a community who are like, God doesn't want you to. And I'm like, okay. I mean,
There's a lot of shame around it.
it's shame.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's like this real weird, like kind of, yeah.
People can get real weird about masturbation. They really can. That's why we have like cornflakes, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah. Where like Kellogg was like, he was a no fapper. Kellogg was, and he thought it was bad for your health, so he wanted to like stop people from masturbating. He had like a whole regimen that like was like to stop like especially like young men from masturbating. And I think that that's why cornflakes are so bland. He was like everything was like no pleasure,
spicy food,
no spicy food, no sweet food. Wow. Yeah, no pleasure at all.
Just don't enjoy anything ever. So what
Fooled
about
you.
Frosted Flakes?
I know that was after his time. I think but the company got away from it.
The devil.
Frosted Flakes do make me want to masturbate.
Yeah,
so
they're a very horny food.
What do you think is the most horny cereal?
The most horny Count Chocula.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, right. There's something devious about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Lucky Charms.
That's what I was going to say
I'm
too.
uncomfortable by that. I don't want to think about fucking the Lucky Charms leprechaun.
No.
Oh my God, are we doing a fuck, marry, kill with like
Count Chocula.
Crunch.
Oh God,
Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger.
He has sexual energy.
Get it.
He does.
Yeah, he does. That is the you win. That is the sexiest cereal for sure.
Frosted Flakes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
No, I think that masturbation, like as a topic, definitely makes people uncomfortable. But then at another level, female masturbation.
Oh God,
definitely.
Right.
I
Totally.
think that. I mean, I do vividly remember being in school and people like that being a slight, be like, I heard she masturbates.
Yeah.
Like, and it was a lot of shame around female masturbation.
You know
way
what?
more than dudes.
At least it was coming up in your school.
I was just saying something like I don't think we ever talked about that.
God, and I wonder, and I've talked to you guys about this before, because like I didn't even know until I was like in my later teens about like going down on women, because I'd only ever seen it in movies, because it's like the early 2000s, all of those like bro comedies were very heavy on like blowjobs and like hand jobs and masturbation, like American Pie, like all those things were so male focused that like it didn't even occur to me that it went the other way, that like a guy could
Girl,
go down
I went
on
to
a girl.
a Catholic school.
Of course it was. Shit got shady.
So we were talking about Colleen getting finger banged behind the library in 7th grade.
Oh, wow.
Colleen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I went to Catholic school. That sounds so much more fun.
Sounds way more fun than where I went.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that my parents put me in it because they wanted me to have a better education.
They wanted you to be more morally guided.
She got a good education, all right.
I did. I definitely
well
did.
educated.
Well, back to dating. Are you currently dating in LA right now?
I am seeing somebody who's kind of new.
Nice.
Yes. He's great.
It's exciting.
Yeah, we met on Hinge, which is not. I like have really not been successful on dating apps, so this is a curveball.
And I do feel like Hinge is usually one that it's like there's some sus shit happening on Hinge. I feel like a lot of people come in with like Hinge is not working for them.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think I'd ever meet somebody on a dating app because it's just so unnatural. Like my best relationships have come from friendships. Like they happened very organically. It was like, oh, I was friends with this guy for a year, and then one day I woke up and I was like, I'm in love with you. So yeah, it's different. We're like I think on day 8 or 9. So.
Oh wow, that's good. That's good.
A fun time.
Do you have like a best date story? Like, what's the best thing that happened? Because I mean, obviously we talk about worst dates, but I always wonder too. Like sometimes, like what was the best date scenario you've encountered? Like a surprise. Like, oh man, this guy came out of left field with this really great idea or whatever.
I'd have to like really rack my brain for that.
Yeah.
31. There's been a few in there. But I will say the guy that I'm dating now, it was just like how communicative he was, right? Like for me, a red flag is somebody who you leave the date and you're not sure if there's going to be another one. Like you're not sure if you think it went well, if they didn't. Right away, he's like, I really enjoyed my time with you.
I love that.
I love the way I feel around you. I'd like to see you again. And it's not like super mushy. But like, oh, okay, you're being direct. You're in touch with what's going on in here.
That's
I
so
love
hot.
that.
Right.
That's so hot.
I love that.
I feel like
love
men
that.
really struggle with that because I feel like they were told for so long that you have to play it really cool. I think everybody was, like don't call right after, don't double text, don't like do all these things. And I feel like men definitely got that message pretty loud and clear for a long time. So I think that they might struggle with that kind of like direct, hey, I like you.
Right.
And I just, and that's scary because it's vulnerable
It
when
is.
you do that because the other person might be like, thanks, and like walk away. Right? Yeah. So, but it's really refreshing and wonderful because no questions. You're not sitting at home wondering if you did something wrong. you know right away.
Totally. And like, you've heard the term like breadcrumbing, where people give you a little bit of attention here, a little attention there, and you're like, I don't know what this means. Like,
right.
I'm just too old for that.
Honestly, I hear you. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't like mushiness either. Like if you're like overly affectionate, that grosses me out too.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah.
So you found your current one on Hinge, but were you on the other dating apps? I'm curious how you rank them. I always ask people what their hierarchy of the apps were, because they're all very different.
I was on Field.
Nice.
That is a terrifying app.
It runs the gamut.
Yeah, it really does. Like, you think you're a freaky person until you get on Field and you're like, oh no, I'm horrified.
I'm very vanilla. By comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird, like pictures of like couples who look like mom and dad with a whip and chain.
Oh, wow.
I did see pineapples on a house in where I'm moving.
Amazing.
And did Eric take down the house number? He's just like, just for future ref.
No, pineapples, I guess, are like a sign of swingers.
Yeah.
Oh, they would be pineapples.
Pineapple decor.
For me, I'm just like, how did that happen? How did the pineapples happen?
That's true.
How did we get here? Because I feel like pineapples were really having a moment like 5 years ago. Do you remember? Like, it was like pineapples, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? So I still have pineapple stuff left over from when they were really popular. People coming to my house being like,
thinking that you're throwing some
freaky, throwing some signs out there.
Well, they even have at the villages.
Text Chris.
that freaky like retirement place that's in Florida.
Yeah.
There's a color-coded loofah system.
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry. I need more information.
Do you know about this?
Color-coded loofahs?
Yes.
Freaky retirement home?
Yes.
That village
it's not a retirement home, it's a community.
Yeah. It's the one where they drive all the fucking golf carts around.
I thought they did that at every retirement community.
Swinger city. My friend was telling me about it because they live like pretty close to there, and they said there's like all kinds of signals they have for each other, like garage door open means this.
I can't live under those kinds of rules.
Listen,
the pressure.
yes.
Like, what if I just came home, I forgot to shut my garage door, and all of a sudden people showed up naked at my house? Like,
open for business.
I can't live with those kinds of rules. It's too much.
And then a blue loofah means something, and a purple loofah,
like anal play, or like
exactly.
Wait, a loofah.
Yes.
So what do you mean, like a loofah?
Yes.
Where? When? What?
On their carts. So they have.
they hang them from the golf cart.
You just parade that around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
really.
like
you have to be like a code
we're into
breaker.
this. Yeah,
breaking codes. Every time you see a golf cart, you're like, oh, okay, Margaret's into ass play, but she doesn't do.
Susan doesn't want to be tied up.
I'm very Susan doesn't want to be tied up. I'm very pro like the fact that like old people are
I love that.
sex positive.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, good for y'all. You're coming into the sunset of your life. Like fuck around. I
Literally
like it.
letting her
big STD outbreak there too.
I don't
Big
love
time.
That happens a lot, like chlamydia and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
they're just doing it wrong.
I would love a reality show about that specific retirement community because they're coming out with The Golden Bachelor, which I'm super stoked about.
Wait, will I watch it? I don't even watch The Regular Bachelor, and I'm like,
people fucking around on TV. This is gonna be the best because they don't give a fuck about anything.
Dude, the mess is gonna be
real.
So messy.
I don't even want it to be The Bachelor. Like, I don't want it to be like one person courting a bunch of people. Like, I want it to be like Bachelor in Paradise, right? Where it's just like a bunch of people, like a Love Island. Like that's what I want for old people. For old people.
They would talk so much shit.
Oh,
they'd be like,
filthy.
I heard Connie smells.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Susan has a fake hip.
The problem is that they won't just be quiet about it though either. It'll be like,
no, they don't care.
Okay, Connie, why don't you get yourself some wipes? Like, they be calling each other out.
my God.
But they probably have like way better game than people our age.
Oh,
right?
definitely.
Because
They got
we're
life
the phone
experience.
generation.
Yes, they got life experience. I mean, we all know, and look, it's gross, and please stop doing it, old men. But we all know, like, old men have the smoothest lines.
It's true.
Like, when an old man like says something slick to you, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But there is
You're
a
like,
little bit
"God
that's
damn."
just like, well, you do have really
That's
good game.
game.
I bet you know, if this was like 1965 and we were at a Sam Cooke concert, I would have been like, well, okay.
Game recognized game.
You know?
It must be interesting too, because like, I don't know, you have moments where you realize you've gotten older, but like maybe they don't really realize that they're older. And it's like, well, I'm
You
still
don't think about
me,
it.
and I'm just operating how I always operate.
Yeah.
So I'm just still spitting the same lines.
I definitely had that moment when I turned 40 because I'm like, in my head, like, you just don't feel 40.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean to feel 40? Because
Right.
I'm still like, sometimes I'm like, I'm still the ingenue. I'm still baby, you know? And I'm like,
I feel that way for sure.
Definitely not
I'm
anymore.
baby.
Definitely not the ingenue, but going for, you know, mom roles and stuff now. But yeah, I think I talked to my mom about it, who's you know, in her 60s now, and she's like,
And she's dating.
she's
Trying to date.
don't even get me started.
Get her on that golden show.
Oh, she would go on The Golden Bachelor. Oh my God.
Oh my god,
Do it.
T-Con would be
Terry Connor would.
wonderful
Wild
on
out.
that show.
You don't want to
wild
see your
out.
mom
I
on
need
that
to
show.
connect her with a casting director. Are you kidding? I would love to see my mom on that show. It would be incredible television. Like,
It would be
the
good
brand
TV.
deals. Come on, I could be a momager, but in reverse.
Oh my God.
You can if she gets on that show, you have to send her with one of those like yard long cocktail things that she had in Vegas.
Yeah.
And she can be that can be her thing on the show. She's just walking around sipping on like a giant pina colada,
Throws it around her neck.
getting messy the whole fucking time.
So messy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I would
the
love it.
fight she would get into. Oh,
Your mom, I
the
feel like,
one.
would throw hands.
Oh, yeah.
I really feel like your mom would throw hands. She's
Yeah.
got Aries energy for real.
yes, she does.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes,
God,
she
is
does.
this going to be, that's my future, isn't it? This is me in the
It's
future.
amazing. I have no idea how we got here, but
I love it.
wonderful
I'm here
journey.
for it.
I want to know,
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
so you mentioned a red flag before. What are some of your other red flag moments? Like, what are some of the other things that you look for? You're like, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, I guess when I'm looking on the dating apps, first of all, like apolitical.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, what does that even mean in this day and age? Like, the Supreme Court is
yeah,
like
you-
ripping away people's rights,
Yeah.
and not to be like overtly political, but like, if you can't tell me if you think like black people should have rights and if I can have an abortion, like,
Yeah.
get your like
Get
little
the fuck
bitch
outta
boy
here.
ass out of here.
Yeah, you have to have an opinion.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you have to have an opinion. And our opinions don't have to align, but then I get to decide that I don't want to be involved with you.
Right.
But to
Right,
not
you
have
can't-
an opinion
right.
is to take a side.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, do you not exist in the society or like moderate? Like, okay, you're like low key racist.
Yeah, yeah, you just don't want to say it.
That's the second time that's come up when somebody's like, moderate, nah, fuck
No.
off.
Right.
No,
I would
thank you.
almost rather you say conservative. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely would rather you do that because, like, this is just it's too ambiguous. Like, I'm like, I don't understand what that means. Like, moderate about what? You
Right,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Because surely you have opinions,
Right.
you know, and I don't want to go on a date with you and have to sit here trying to like ask 20 questions to figure out what your beliefs are.
Yeah.
Right.
Just be out with it so that I
Yeah.
can move on. I'm busy.
Right. Like that's such a like, that eventually is going to come up like if you want to plan a life with somebody. So let's just get that out of the way quickly.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other red flags, like when people like just generally flirt with the audience, like on a dating app, like, oh, what's a ideal first date? Like me and you walking on a beach. I'm like, are you just flirting with everybody on this app or are you
Yeah.
flirting with me?
I feel like
Yeah.
that feels very much like an episode of like Love Connection or whatever. You know what I mean? Whenever or like whatever that dating show
The
was.
Hinge prompts are so cringe.
Unhinged?
That's what I used to call Hinge. Like, I would be like, ugh, cringe. Because there's
Hinge.
so much, like, those, like, lead-ins. There's so many people that do that kind of thing where I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Like a normal person.
Yeah.
Is that the one that introduced the voice?
The voice prompts.
Oh my God. No.
Why?
And they never say anything interesting, or they do the weirdest thing possible.
Weird.
You're like, why? And they think they're hilarious.
Yeah.
100% of the time. Yeah. They think that they're funny.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm also on Raya, or I was on Raya, which like made me feel so ugly. I didn't get any matches on the fucking app, and you pay $20 a month for it.
It's insane.
Yeah. No, and I've heard too, because everyone's like, oh, Raya, the celebrity app. And it's like mostly just fucking agents and shit like that. Or people that.
Entrepreneurs, whatever
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. Honey, you drive Uber.
I work for myself.
They show you a celebrity here and there, and I'm like, okay, they pay the celebrity to be on this app, right? And like, there's no way that freaking.
We did have one guest who got messaged by John Mayer, remember?
Yes.
And then she took a screenshot of his like
Profile.
account, his profile, and sent to send to her friend, and then got a message from the app that was like, "Don't do that again. You'll get kicked off the app."
She's like, I never went back on again.
Scared I didn't go back.
Fair.
Yeah. No, the only celeb that I found on a dating app, it was on Tinder, and it was
Will Sasso?
Yes.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
But didn't you
that?
find Tom from MySpace also on?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah,
He's a person?
Tom from
Yeah.
MySpace was on Tinder too. Yeah.
I love that.
Like 4 years ago.
I wish, right?
That was one of the pics in his carousel.
you would
and I was
have
like,
to, because you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It can't be the real Tom. Like,
And then it was like, yes, I'm the real Tom, right?
yeah. And I was like, that's kind of awesome. I mean, I didn't match with him, so I don't know. It could be somebody. You can put anything. You can put a picture of ham sandwich on there and say that's who you are or whatever.
Truly.
Who
The
is
real
Will
ham
Sasso?
sandwich.
I don't know either.
I don't know who that is.
He's
Oh,
on
it's from
Mad
Mad
TV.
TV. Yeah.
Oh.
He always played like Kenny Rogers or like, like
or
drunk
Randy
Kenny Rogers.
Newman.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow,
We're the
officially-
old ladies on the couch.
Like, we officially became like the old people up in the balcony of the Muppet Show.
Waldorf.
That's us now. Oh no.
Anyways,
I do have a question though. So you transitioned from being a journalist to being a comedian. What did that affect your dating life at all? Whenever you told men that you were a journalist, as opposed to telling them that you are a female stand-up comic?
oh
Yes.
I'm sure.
not for the best.
Not
I'm
for the
sure.
best. No. First
Yeah.
of all, I don't really tell people I'm a comic on dating apps. The guy that I'm seeing now, I think I might have like very slightly mentioned it, and he actually lived with a comedian, so he put it
perfect.
together, and he was totally down and didn't like try to be too funny or like say I've been thinking about doing stand up, which of course. But something that
Can I try a couple jokes on you real quick?
Yeah,
You're like,
you should put
"Please
that in your
don't."
bit. You should put that on stage.
Oh God.
In your little skits.
One of your little skits.
Just make sure to work that into my type 5.
Yeah, are you gonna write about me? No,
No.
you're not interesting enough. But something that definitely switched. I felt like when I was a reporter, I heard guys sometimes say something like, "That's a hot job." Their words, not mine. Like, how's a job hot? But I always joke that it's because it's like a woman with a mouthpiece but no opinions.
Yeah. No, you're
Right?
exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah. As
so
soon
like
as you're like,
size it.
yeah, because you have to. You're just asking questions. You're not like voicing your opinion. As a comedian, you're voicing your opinion. I got the same thing when I would tell people, because we started this podcast because I went through a divorce and I started dating. So yeah, as soon as I told people I had a dating podcast, like people would either ghost,
gonna be
not
on it?
message, or like be super weird about. Yeah, it's awful. Awful.
Yeah, and I think it does turn some men off to, female comics are abrasive, and they're very on. And I think that does turn some guys off. Like, it's like, oh, this is a very strong energy coming in,
It's almost good though, right? Isn't it like you're like, just weed
It
out the
weeds it
shit.
out.
You can't handle it, get the fuck out.
Totally.
Yeah,
that's
and
fine.
I'd rather know that right away.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Nikki Glaser has this like really good bit in her last special where she talks about how there was this study that said, they asked what is a good sense of humor to men and to women, and men said it's people who laugh at my jokes, and women said it's people who do good jokes.
Right.
Because men want to be
Wow.
laughed at. They want to be the center of attention.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, that explains a lot of that kind of audience, what is it?
Like crowd work?
Yeah, no, I mean like when an audience, a jeers, like somebody who's like
a heckler.
Yeah, heckler. Thank you. Could not find that word. Like it's almost 99.9% a guy.
Yeah.
Who's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
they want to
you're not funnier than me.
Because they want to act like,
you're not funnier than me.
Yeah.
If you were, you'd be up here and you're not. So
Have you had a really bad heckler?
I've had a few. Honestly, the worst ones are... I'm lucky I haven't had anybody like violent or racist or like throwing things, you know, but I've had people that are trying to be like nice hecklers where they really just want to insert themselves into the conversation. That's almost worse because you can't be a dick to them.
Right.
They're having a good time, but you really want to be like,
right.
But I always wonder, like, who are their friends? Like, these people that are sitting with them
and they're not
I would
like,
never. I would melt under the table if somebody that I was with like started like.
I would be like.
I would die.
I
was,
imagine
faint.
alcohol is a big culprit in situations like that.
I would fake faint just so the attention was drawn up. Like, oh my God.
You just gotta pretend not to be with them. Because that's like my biggest fear is like going to a comedy show, somebody that you're with making a scene. And then when people are doing crowd work, they're always like, who you with? Who's that?
Yeah.
How long have you guys been together? No. Leave me out of this entirely. I didn't ask for this.
Yeah. Well, and in this day and age, that's become such an Instagram thing is all these comics clipping crowd work and putting it on the internet. Like, you're putting yourself in harm's way.
Yes.
No, that's why I'm like, I don't want to sit. I think it tells you a lot about a person where they want to sit whenever you go to a show. If they want to sit in the front, I'm like, we might not be compatible. I do not want to get called out. You're
like, not me. It ain't me.
I want a good seat, but maybe like 3 rows
behind the line of fire, man. Nope.
Yeah, because I agree. I think that I'm a funny person, but if I started getting like picked on by a comedian, I'd be like,
I can't handle it. I know that already about myself. I'm like, I know these are jokes, but I'm gonna go home and take it. I'm like laughing right now. I'm like, I'm gonna go home and take it personally. 100%. It's the same reason why I don't get my like caricature drawn whenever I go somewhere. Because I'm like, I know that this is a joke, but I'm gonna take it too seriously when I go home.
Is my nose really that big?
Yeah, I'm like, you really are just like, no, you're pointing out all of my fears, all of my biggest flaws about myself. I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's gotta be like I think you should leave Sky. But if they do it with like people's personalities.
Oh my God. No, I can't. I can't handle it. I'll spin out, man.
So we gotta hear then worst date ever story. We get them from everybody.
Well, that one was pretty bad, the married guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the most recent one. There was one earlier this year, which people debate whether or not this was right or wrong of him to do.
Ooh.
Can't wait.
I still stand by what I said. I think what he did was fucked up. So this guy and I matched on, I think, Hinge, and we had plans for like a Friday night, but turns out it's going to be St. Patrick's Day. And so I'm like, well, you know what? Like, we don't have to go like a fancy dinner. Why don't we go out? It's St. Patrick's Day. Like, you seem like you party. I party. Let's go out. And he's like, well, actually, some of my friends are going out. Let's go out with them. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I love a good casual hang. You know, low pressure, whatever.
Yeah.
And you'd seen each other before?
No.
Or was it first date?
This is our first date.
Oh, okay.
So we're already getting into like a kind of not orthodox date situation.
For sure.
And I didn't think I was going to hook up with him. That was not the plan. But we hit it off. We had a really good time. We'd been partying. We hooked up.
We're not going to judge you.
No.
It's 2023.
Get it.
Yeah.
My aunt definitely judges me. She's always like, really? First date again?
You're like, yeah, mind your business.
Yeah, we live together, so there's a lot of walks of shame happening there.
There's a lot of judgmental side eye when you come in the door.
She's like,
Yeah. Oh, where were you? It's 7 a.m. What? I went to the gym in heels.
went for a run. God.
Right? So I left his place probably around like 9 or 10 in the morning. And I don't know why. I just had this like woman's intuition to look at his dating profile again. Like, not that there should be anything interesting there. We've already been on the date. He had uploaded a picture from our date onto the dating profile an hour after I left his place. And I'm like, dude, the bed sheets are still dirty.
No, the body ain't cold, bro.
I I just feel like that's bad manners. Yeah. Like that just feels like bad etiquette, right?
Dude, and you can see like your arm.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
He cut you out of the picture.
It's a good picture of me.
Wait, didn't we get a story like that where we're like having fun by myself on a hike or something?
We did. We got a story where there was he was on a date with this girl and they took a selfie together in front of like a waterfront. And while they were on the date, she cropped him out of it, uploaded it to Facebook, and was like enjoying some much needed alone time.
That's way worse.
Oh my God. Brutal. Horrifying. It's totally
much
brutal.
needed alone time.
No, but I'm with you. Like, I feel like
That's
I just
fucked up.
feel like it's bad etiquette. Like, it's not to say that like you can upload whatever pictures you want to upload to your look. Getting a good picture is tricky. It can get hard. But I'm just like, you were making changes to your dating profile right
hour after.
That
Also,
is
what's wrong with you?
Well, not to be like Miss Manners or anything like that, but like
Sally Post or whatever. Oh, Emily Post.
Exactly. What was her name? Like Abby, whatever.
Dear Abby.
Yeah. But etiquette wise, like, okay, I get it. It's 2023. We can hook up on the first date. There's no like expectations of exclusivity or monogamy or whatever. But it's just like, it's just bad taste.
It's just bad manners.
That's what I said. Bad manners.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't expect him to be my boyfriend. I didn't even expect a second date. It was just, bro, like, you just had sex. Like, are you already like looking for the next one? What
Seriously.
happened to you? What's wrong with you? And then because he sent me the picture, it was him like doing a thumbs up. His friends had taken it at the bar, like when I was there, and he like texted it to me as a response to something I said, and I was like, that's on your dating. Is that from last night? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, and it's on your dating profile? And he's like, oh, haha, my friends took my phone and like, I did it
Okay.
And now you're a liar.
Now you're lying.
you're
to
like
me.
12.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could just tell me the
honestly.
truth. Like, because I'm just like, that 100% did not happen.
Literally will never happen in
Your friends,
history.
your guy. I've never known a group of guy friends who's like, I'm stealing your phone.
Tinder
Let's
profile.
make edits to your dating profile. Like, no, they didn't.
No,
That's
and
like
that
15-year-old
wouldn't be
girl
it.
shit.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be the picture of a guy doing that to a guy friend. That's not the picture they posted. It's
No.
you falling asleep with your mouth open by accident.
Yeah, with a dick drawn on your face.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one that they put up, not you doing this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No.
also, even if that was true, you mean your friends that we were with last night?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
they don't like me?
Yeah, also true. Yeah, that's so awkward in so many different directions, no
they're
matter
just like,
how
fuck
you
that
look at
girl.
it.
Let's fix this.
God.
So, what did you do? Did you just like block him, move on?
Well, it was kind of a mind fuck because I ran it by several of my girlfriends and it was mixed reviews. Some people were like, that's sick. He's like a sex addict or something. There's nothing wrong with him. Right?
Yeah, like if you literally just got laid the night before, like
That
you
morning,
literally-
chill
yeah,
out.
then you need to get on Tinder right after that. That's
You know
so
what though?
weird.
I
Like a
feel like
weird
some
flag
people
to me.
are addicted to Tinder. Like even if it's not
well,
like
the
a sex
gamified
thing.
dating.
Right.
Yeah.
It's how much can you
Truly.
get? It
Yeah.
is gamified like that. So even if it's not like a sex addiction, it is just like a attention addiction. Yeah, I can easily see how that could become a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it triggers like the dopamine and stuff in your
People
brain.
like me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I showed his profile to one of my guy friends from back home, and I was like, do you think this is fucked up? So he looks at his Instagram, and he's like, he has shirtless pictures under a waterfall. He's a himbo. What did you think was going to happen? And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah. When
and
you're
there
right,
it
you're
is,
right.
you
You
know?
got me. You got me.
Yeah.
That's on me. I was being horny.
Nothing wrong with it. You know,
Got
there's
me.
nothing wrong with it. It is just like, I do feel like somebody needs to write an Emily Post guide for etiquette for the 21st century dating scene. I think that somebody, because I'm like, that should be on it.
That's
I feel
a good
like
idea.
there should be like,
Fine. Is that
there's
our next
nothing-
book? Trademark.
There's nothing wrong with that necessarily. Like on the surface, like there was no expectation for a second date. You're not asking to be his girlfriend. There are no rules around it. So technically it's fine, but just like it gives me the ick, like on like a manners level.
Big ick.
Truly.
Yeah.
Big
yeah.
ick.
So
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some baseline
Yeah.
expectations.
Well, there needs to be an etiquette book ever since, I think that because there's these guys who are still stuck in that dating,
Pickup artist.
mindset that needs to be like, no,
Yeah,
we're not
negging
there
isn't
anymore.
cool anymore. We're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing
no.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2023, year of our Lord, Beyonce. This is how we act.
Exactly.
This is how we do.
Well, and it was a mindfuck too, because the people that were saying to me, this isn't a big deal. Like, I kind of brought it up to him and we kind of had like a back and forth, not argument, but I was like, this is gross. Like, I'm not going to see you again. Don't contact me anymore.
Right.
And he didn't get it. He's like, what? What did I do? I don't know what.
Oh, God.
And then
Okay.
I had like...
He sounds like he took a shirtless picture under a waterfall. It is so
So then I continued to like follow him and be like nice to him for a while because I felt like maybe I was being crazy, which is the problem with dating in this day and age, right? You
Yes.
feel like you're crazy all the time. And you just, like the guy that I'm dating now is so respectful, but in such simple ways that I forgot men should be respectful. Like, oh, he walks on the street side when we're on the sidewalk. Like, I forgot men were supposed to do that. Because you just go through so many shitty dates where people are so horrible that the bare minimum
They wouldn't even think of it.
them. Yeah.
They wouldn't even think of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being a passenger princess now is like the best.
Oh, girl, I don't drive ever.
Ever. I
love
never
driving.
have to
I
drive ever. And it's wonderful. I love it.
I love being a driver. I don't
love
mind.
driving.
Chris can be my passenger princess for life. I love driving. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Well, this has been so lovely. It
you.
has been
This is
so
fun.
great to chat with you. So tell our listeners where they can find you.
Okay. On Instagram, it's Indecent Kiki for the podcast, and it's Kiki Andersen, and the podcast is everywhere you get your podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
We love you so much. Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.